My name is Heido and welcome to the Pantheon, where today we're in the world of commanders, at least for Dungeons & Dragons anyway, and we've got the final face commander for you. It's Galia, Kindler of Hope, who is Bant and then 1 generic, for a Vigilant 4/4. You may look at the top card of your library any time. You may cast aura and equipment spells from the top of your library. When you cast an equipment spell this way, it gains, when this equipment enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. So this sort of deck really leads me down, quite a Voltron-y sort of direction. We want to go big on enchantments, big on auras, things that buff our commander, then we can get in a ton of damage. I'm not particularly focusing on the sort of artifact side of things, but there are a couple of cool artifacts that we can cheat in. If you like these videos, please do subscribe. I'm going to be making one of these for every single legendary creature in the entirety of Magic. There's a lot of them, I can tell you that much. Without further ado, let's have a look at my top 5 for Galia, Regalia, whatever you want to call it. And at number 5, we've got New Horizons, and auras are what we're focusing on. So we want to be able to cast as many cards from the top of our library as possible, and ramp is something that we're going to want in our deck. So our ramp should be castable from the top of our deck. And New Horizons is a perfect example of this. 3 mana for an aura enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Probably going to choose our commander because we want to get in there for tons of damage. Enchanted land has tap, add 2 mana of any one colour. So this ramps as our land now produces 2 mana and it's 1 mana of any colour. So our forest can make white or black or some red. I don't know what I'm talking about. But all of these auras allow us to get ahead in mana. Sheltered Airy, 3 mana for an aura. Enchanted land. Enchanted land has tap, add 2 mana of any one colour to your mana pool. So not exciting, but it does allow us to get ahead in mana. And it's also increasing our aura count. Abundant Growth doesn't ramp us. It's a 1 green aura for enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, it does draw us a card, though, so it allows us to filter through our deck, get to the more important cards. Enchanted land has tap, add 1 mana of any colour, so it's fixing. So if you don't have one of those 3 colours in your commander's identity, this allows you to get there. Then, on a slightly different tact, a really cool card, I love this card from Time Spiral. 2 mana for an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, so we can put this on our opponent's creature as a sort of pseudo removal. Yes, it's still on the field, but we can't get hit by it, and hitting things is generally bad. But enchanted creature has tap, add 1 mana of any colour. So if we put this on one of our creatures, probably not our commander because then our commander can't attack, but one of our sort of incidental creatures, it'll allow us to ramp slightly. Our creature will now tap for a mana. Similar to this, we've got Song of Dryads, 3 mana for an aura, enchant permanent, so any permanent at all. Enchanted permanent is a colourless forest land, so again, we can put this on one of our sort of incidental creatures to allow us to tap that creature as a forest for a bit of ramp. But the main use for this will be removal on whatever you want. Absolutely anything, artifact, enchantment, planeswalker. It just turns it into a forest land, and our opponents, well, they're going to be crying all over the place. They're going to be tears flooding down, which, will lead to a sunken field, a sunken battlefield. Very good. 2 mana for an enchant land. Enchanted land has tap, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. So an interesting sort of counter spell, probably pretty garbage because it's an aura. Your opponent can always see it coming. They know it's on the field, but if they forget and you get them with it, it'll be amazing. Absolutely fantastic. And then we've got Darksteel Mutation, 2 mana for an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature is an insect artifact creature with base power and toughness 0/1 and has indestructible. Loses all abilities and types and creature types. So this is really good on our opponent's creatures. However, if they're playing something, like a Hydra that, has tons of counts on it, or the commander has a bunch of +1/+1 counts on it, this will allow that creature to keep that, and then it'll be indestructible. So, not that great, but really good against commanders that have activated abilities because they've now got nothing. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, if we're going to be casting a bunch of enchantments and auras, well, let's draw cards from them. Sram Senior Edificer is 2 mana for a 2/2. It's a Dwarf Advisor, and whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Are you going to be casting vehicles? Well, it's your deck. You could do if you wanted to. But the main thing is, aura and equipment, every time we cast one, even off the top of our library, we're going to draw a card. And this is really good because, yes, we want to be casting a lot of things from the top of our library, but occasionally we're just going to have lands on the top of our library. So this allows us to draw through that glut of lands and just get to the actual good stuff. To go along with this, Core Spirit Dancer, 2 mana for a 0/2. Gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it, so it's a threat in itself if you just pile a ton of auras onto it. And whenever you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card. Well, you draw the cards. You want to draw the cards. Why are you not drawing the cards? I don't understand. It's weird. Then the Sithis Harvest Hand. 2 mana for a 1/2 Nymph. Legendary enchantment creature. What a type line. Look at how massive that is. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life and draw 1 card. So just not even just auras, absolutely any enchantment at all. And the OG Enchantress Presence. 3 mana for enchantment. Whenever you play an enchantment spell, draw a card. Absolutely fantastic. It's an enchantment itself, so it'll trigger like things like Siths. So we can just absolutely churn through the deck, just draw all the cards we want. Then a couple more here. Satyr Enchanter. 3 mana for a 2/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Simple, effective. Then we've got 2 Vasts of the Sunlit. A green, a blue, and a white. For Merfolk Shaman. Gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. So that's a nice big body attached to this lovely little lady. Whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, draw a card. So not that great because it is only the first one. And we're not really wanting to play on our opponent's turns. If you build sort of a flash sub-theme into the deck, this gets even better because each turn you can cast one and draw more cards. But it's just a generally large beat that draws some cards. And then Argothian Enchantress, an absolute classic, but it isn't very good in this deck, as we're focusing mainly on auras. 2 mana for 0 Shroud. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. The reason I say that is because if this is your only Enchantress, and there's just a ton of auras on top of your deck and in your hand, because of the Shroud, you can't actually target this. So it's not exactly what you want to be doing, but it still draws us a load of cards. Which brings me on to number 3. And at number 3, I am focusing on the enchantment side of things, but here's a couple of cool equipments that allow you to cheat on the equip cost. Argentum Armor is a 6 mana equipment. Crit creature gets +6/+6, so that's a pretty good. If you're playing a Voltron deck, it makes it massive. And whenever a crit creature attacks, destroy target permanent. It doesn't have to be a blocker or anything like that. It can just be whatever you want. Planeswalker, amazing bit of removal. Could even be your own land, but why are you doing that? And equip of 6, but if you play it off the top, you're getting it for free. Then we've got Blackblade Reforged, very good in a sort of aggro commander deck. 2 mana for an equipment, quick creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Well, you're probably going to have quite a few lands. We're playing green, but having said that, most of our ramp is going to be auras, so not that many ramps. But we're still going to have a massive creature off this. Equip legendary creature for 3, equip for 7. So we could just put this on one of our Enchantress dudes, swing in for loads of damage. Then a personal favourite card of mine. It's not very good, but I love it. Tetsumasa, the Dragon's Fang. 6 mana for a 3 equipment. Crit creature gets +5/5, so nice and big. But you can pay 6 and remove it from the game. Put a 5/5 blue Dragon Spirit creature token with flying onto play. Return it to play under its owner's control if that token is put into a graveyard from play. Really, really nice. I love the flavor of it. I think it's so cool. A dragon trapped inside a sword, and I just find it so flavorful. The artwork's amazing in foil, absolutely phenomenal. Then we've got Caldra complete. 7 mana for a 7 equip thing. So that's a nice cheating thing, isn't it? You can cheat on 7 mana. Living Weapon has Indestructible. So the Living Weapon, when it comes in with a 0/0 germ and attaches to it. But if you're casting it off the top of your library, you can overwrite that. When a quick creature has +5/5 and has First Strike, Trample, Indestructible, Haste, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature. So it does everything. Trample, First Strike, oh, amazing. Indestructible Commander, I'll take it. Pretty goddamn good. Then we're going to want to move the auras and equipments around quite a bit. And Arden Intrepid Archaeologist is great for that. 3 mana for a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras or equipment you control to target permanent or player. This is really nice, can allow you to just suit up whatever you want. Say you need a big flyer to get past one of your opponent's blockers. Well, move everything over onto it and then bing bang bosh, everyone's dead. Similarly, if you're going along the equipment route, Balan Wandering Knight is a great card. 4 mana for a 3/3 first strike. It has double strike as long as it has 2 or more equipments attached to it. And then you can pay 2 to attach all equipments you control to Balan. That is fantastic. Just gets around all of the things. gets past all the equip costs. Amazing. And double strike in this sort of deck is just simply phenomenal. Then we've got Heavenly Blade Master, 6 mana for a 3/6 with flying and double strike. Ooh, double strike's back. When it enters the battlefield, you may attach any number of auras and equipments you control to it. So just pile them all on. And then other creatures you control get +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to Heavenly Blade Master. That works really well because all of our little enchantresses, they're all, 0/1s, stuff like that. This allows us to get in for tons of damage with our little army of dweebs. Really, really cool. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got Estrid the Masked. I love a good mask. Look at all those horrifying things. And, some people in everyday life that I interact with, not naming names, but Dave, should really wear a mask. It's just horrifying. But Estrid, 4 mana for a 3 loyalty planeswalker, +2, untap each enchanted permanent you control. That includes the lands that we have auras on, so this can allow us to make absolutely tons of mana. And if we're attacking them with creatures, it untaps them to give them pseudo-vigilance so they can't attack Estrid on the swing back. Then -1, and the reason I want to play this card, create a white aura enchantment token named Mask, attached to another target permanent. The token has enchant permanent and totem armor, and it's that totem armor which I'm really interested in. Totem armor says that if the permanent that you are enchanting would be destroyed, destroy the totem armor enchantment instead. So this is a nice bit of protection for our commander for whatever we want. Really, really nice. And totem armor is something I'd like to build into the deck. Finally, -7, put the top 7 cards of your library into your graveyard. Return all non-aura enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then do the same for aura cards. So really, really nice. Rebuying everything that you've lost in the game is fantastic. And with auras, you're going to be losing them quite often because all that needs to happen is your creature gets destroyed and all of them fall into the graveyard. So, speaking of totem armor, we've got Bear Umbra. 4 mana for an aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature has +2/+2. And whenever this creature attacks, untap all lands you control. Really, really good. Essentially gives you an extra turn. You can cast all of your cards pre-combat. Swing, untap all your lands. You've got an extra main phase to cast whatever you want. Then, in terms of protection, we've got Curator's Ward. 3 mana for an enchant permanent. Enchant permanent has hexproof. Hexproof is phenomenal. Our opponent can't target our creature or whatever we want, so spot removal isn't going to do it. And then if we've got a couple of totem armors on our commander, well, even board wipes won't do it either. Very, very nice. And if they do manage to remove it, when it dies, if it's historic, so we're going to want to put this on our commander who is historic, draw 2 cards. Really, really good. Then finally, Hammer of Nazan, 4 mana for a 4 equipment. When it or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach the equipment to target creature you control. Create creature gets +2/+0 and has Indestructible. Indestructible is phenomenal. The extra boost in power, really, really good. And we're doing what our commander is already doing, but on a better scale. This allows every equipment, not just the ones cast from the top of your library, to just sort of clip on to whatever you want. And we've built a massive Megazord, and everyone's going to fall over and die. Brings me on to number 1. At number 1, we've got Sterling Grove. And ways to put cards on top of your library, specifically auras or artifacts, so you can cast them using our commander. And Sterling Grove does exactly that. 2 mana for enchantment. Other enchantments you control are Shroud. Now, if you're playing enchantment creatures, that is quite bad because then you can't put auras onto them. But it does protect all of our auras that are already on creatures. Really, really nice bit of protection and just works well all around, really. Then, the real reason we're playing it, pay 1, sacrifice it, search your library for an enchantment card, unveil it, and shuffle, and put that card on top, which allows us to just cast that card straight away. Absolutely fantastic. This works so well with Sun Titan, and because we're playing a lot of auras, Sun Titan's fantastic because anything that's 3 CMC, it can bring it back, get a ton of value that way. So if you're playing Sterling Grove, play Sun Titan. Then to go along with it, we've got Moon Blessed Cleric. 3 mana for a 3/2 with Divine Intervention. Oh. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, shuffle, and put that card on top. Exactly what we want to be doing. Tutor up an aura, get it onto the top, cast it. So much value. Speaking of value, this card is garbage, but it is very much what we want to be doing. Soaring Hope, which is what I feel every time I look at 5 mana for an enchant aura, enchant creature. And when Soaring Hope comes into play, you gain 3 life. Whew, mad value. Enchanted creature has flying. Well, that's great with our commander. We can swing in, but we can pay 1 to put Soaring Hope on top of its owner's library. So for 6 mana a turn, we can cast it, put it back on, cast it again. Potentially, it's really cool, but there's just... I included this instead of things like Conviction that you can bounce back to your hand. Because it goes to the top of your library, it just fits more with the overall theme. And the artwork is really, really lovely. Then to finish off, we got Enlightened Tutor. 1 white for an instant, search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal that card, shuffle your library, put that card on top. Sadly, it's very monetarily expensive, but this card just works so well in the deck. Really exactly the sort of card you want to be playing. And those are my top 5 cards for this brand new commander. Really quite cool, you know, Soaring Hope isn't, but the artwork's lovely, so, you know, I'm sure it'll look good in foil. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please do subscribe, comment, like, send me a carrier pigeon filled with truffles. Something like that. I'll see you soon. Bye.